Good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you guys are, whenever you guys are watching this. New York fans, we got a very, very special guest today. The New York Rangers are on the precipice of going back to the playoffs, baby. So, we at New York Revival, we want to bring you guys an awesome guest that may be able to give us a little taste of what it's like to go into the playoffs, to win a Stanley Cup in New York. I gotta drop a little clip for you. You guys may know this clip. You may have seen it before. Check it out.
Into the far corner. Matteau swoops in to intercept. Matteau behind the net. Swings it in front. He scores! Matteau! 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 Stephan Matteau! And the Rangers have one more hill to climb, baby! But it's Mount Vancouver! The Rangers are headed to the final!
Yeah, you remember that guy. Legend. Stephan Matteau. Let's bring him in here. Mr. Matteau, how we doing, sir? Welcome to New York Revival. How are we feeling today? How we doing?
Well, I'm feeling a lot better watching that video again. That's just, I've been watching that video over and over and over with my school programs in New York, and I still have chills looking at it. And there's always something that I missed. And then last time I just watched it, where did that puck go? I wish I could have, if I could have looked back and do something different, I would have jumped right into the net and grabbed that puck. That's
I hear you, man.
That was a crazy celebration. Good morning. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Yeah, listen, I wish we had those, like, the goal cams that they have now. They show where the puck went. We have no clue where it went. We just know that across the line, the goalie and the ref pointed at the goal, and the rest was history, man. The rest was history. How, like, I know you've spoken about this a million times, but did you black out after that? Like, do you remember what happened after that goal?
I blacked out for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of things have been said over the years, but my first reaction was to, we are going to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Right.
After all the drama that happened a few days before, winning Game 6 when Messier guaranteed the game. We were so nervous, by the way. We were so nervous during that Game 6, and all the drama when Zalapukin scored with 7 seconds to go. There was a lot of drama, and then we were playing against one of the best team in the National Hockey League also, in the Devils. So when I scored, that was a relief because I scored prior in Game 3, and I didn't think about my own success. And the only thing I thought is that we are going to the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's go and let's keep moving on. So that was my first reaction.
Right.
The celebration followed, but to share that with my teammates, and also would have not have been the same celebration if it was not at Madison Square Garden.
Right.
The hype, the excitement of the fans, the great fans of New York. Very grateful that I had that moment, and we still talk about it 29 years later. So that's how special that moment was.
Well, and you mentioned how it was a relief for you, and it was a relief for us Ranger fans too. It was years and years of built up angst and nervousness. We just were waiting for that next shoe to drop, and then you put that puck in the net, and man, it was just like party on. Let's go. And it almost like, oh wait, we have to still play Vancouver after that. So you forget about that, but it was just such a relief. And so I want to talk to you about that because in the playoffs, I know the game changes. It's a grind in the playoffs now, and it always seems like, a grinder like you were at that point. It seems like you guys always get the biggest goals. How does that work? So, why is the bottom six that important? It seems like the teams with the best overall bottom six go the furthest in the playoffs.
It's a combination of everything. You need to have the hottest goalie at the time. You need to have the best power play at the time, which we had. We needed the best penalty killing at the time. And we had the best leaders of all hockey at that time at their prime. They were not Mess and Kevin Lowe. I know they were a little bit older, but they still were. They were just amazing. We had the leaders who had been there before not only one time, but they've been there many, many times.
Right.
And it's a combination, the trust of Mike Keenan, the trust of the New York Rangers, and also we were not overconfident group, but we were very confident, not cocky, but we were very confident, which we could win any single game. That
Right.
means anyone could beat us, but for them to beat us 2 or 3 times in a row, it was almost impossible in our mind.
Right.
We were tested by the Devils, but what saved us also, we swept the Islanders in 4. We played Washington. We beat them in 5, and then we were ready for one of the longest series with three double overtime goal games, and but we were suited for the playoff, and we all know that the Rangers sacrificed a lot of players at the deadline to acquire myself and some other my teammates, and we all paid dividends. And but to answer your question, you need the third line, the fourth line, even the substitute players who would most likely not be in the lineup. We had Doug Lidster who came in and he scored some big goals for us in the finals. And I might forget a few more players, but we were packed, but we needed some support also.
I hear you on that. It was something that was amazing because, and I wanted to speak to you on this because you kind of alluded to it. The trade deadline, like, what was that like coming from the Blackhawks to the Rangers? Were you happy? Were you like, were you looking forward to leaving Chicago to come to New York? It seemed like it was an absolute crazy deadline that a lot of people were calling out the Rangers for messing with a team that seemed ready to go, but they added such great pieces. Now, like, what was that like for you coming in with that group of guys coming to New York?
Great pieces, of course, but if we were to lose Game 7 or Game 6 against New Jersey, that would have been the worst trades of all time.
Exactly.
So winning solve a lot of problems.
Mm-hmm.
And Tony Amani left. He was a great player, and he scored a lot of goals after the trade. So, but going into the trade deadline for me, I was very nervous, knowing I was getting traded from Chicago, but not knowing where. But when I found out the news I was going to the Rangers, I was shocked because we played the Rangers a few weeks before at the Garden, and we had a butt kick against them, and they told we could tell they were the best team in the National Hockey League. So when I got traded, my first reaction, I said that a few times before, that I was going to be on the safety. I would have been on the fourth line or fifth line just in case someone was going to be traded, someone's going to be hurt. And to my surprise, the very next night we played the Calgary Flames in Calgary. I saw my name on the line with Kovalev and Larmer on the second line on the chart, and I was pretty special. So I never moved from that line throughout the remaining of the season, and also for the rest of the playoffs. So it was a big surprise. So at that point, that doesn't build any more pressure, but you just don't want anyone. You don't want to let people down. And but I was fortunate enough to play with one of the best centermen in Alexei Kovalev and one of the best right winger, Steve Larmer, behind Messier, Graves, and Anderson. So, but it was just a pleasure to be part of the lineup for sure.
Now, question for you. Typically, heading into the playoffs, it's a grind. I mean, that 82 games is a grind, and then you go to the playoffs, and it just reaches a whole new level. Now, I don't know if you've been watching the Rangers a lot recently, but what they've been doing is they've been resting some guys. How needed is that little bit of rest? And like, you have to flip another switch to get into playoff mode? Like, how does their body, or does it just you just let your body take over and just see how long it lasts?
It's a two different world.
Right.
Like, regular season games are very fast. Like, what I try to explain to my friends, it goes, you play in the National Hockey League, not too many people could jump. No one on the planet could just jump on the ice against us. But us professional, first game of the playoff, it's a totally, it seems like it's a different level. It's like going on a highway with a moped. It seems like in the first game or two, because it takes a while to adjust. but the intensity, the grinding, the little mistakes gets bigger by the inches and by the moment. So it's a fun game, but when you're losing, it magnifies the intensity of the highs and the lows, and that's why we needed some. What saved us, we had some great leaders who would not they would not accept us to go uh, up or down, but we were fortunate in the first two rounds that we didn't have that. We came out of the gate. We beat the Islanders 6-0 twice on home ice, and then we played against them on the road, and they gave us a big challenge. But it's the Rangers. The difference between the Rangers and this year, and then we were chasing first overall for the home ice. I think they did it right. I think when they find out they could not reach Carolina, they set out those players this week. I think they're playing tonight or tomorrow, and I think they're going to take a break on them also, because playoffs start pretty soon. So they'll need those players to be at the top and to stay healthy throughout the playoff if they want to have a chance to win the Stanley Cup this year.
Absolutely. And so you've seen it before. You've seen a hot goalie take a team very far. You've seen Richter. You've watched Lundqvist. Now they got Prince Igor up there. Like, he's young. So does it take experience for a goalie, or is it just natural and you're just going? Do they have a chance with a goalie like Igor in his first actual playoff to make a run? Can he be?
I was with Graves. We had our alumni game last weekend in Long Island, and I spent a lot of times with Graves and some of the alumni. And he is a big believer in our goaltender this year. We are, like, I'm talking about, I'm not part of the team, but I am part of the team.
You are a Ranger.
And I am a Ranger, so I'm a big fan. I'll be at all the home games. I'll be there, and I'm going back to New York on Saturday and tomorrow. And he's the reason why they're going to go far in the playoff. But also, not only the pressure on him, but I'm looking at the lineup, Panarin and the top three players, they don't have the low, and Strome is down the like Panarin, Zibanejad, Kreider, Fox, Strome. If those 4 or 5 guys don't produce, they'll be out next week. So and there's a lot of pressure, and if your top players don't produce, you have to look at your second and third and fourth line. But the minute that the top lines are playing, they need to produce, but they have to manage to win those 1-goal game, and that's and the overtime goals and those overtime games. So I'm looking forward for the playoff in general this year. Once again, first round in the West and the East, there's going to be a big upset, but there's always going to be some very tough, good teams going to be out in the first round. That could open up the Rangers' path to go even further in the playoff.
Right.
People will say, let's take care of the first playoff, but they match pretty good against Pittsburgh and Washington, and their chance of winning, it's as high as we've seen in years.
Agreed. I mean, it's funny because, like, you'd think you don't want to run into Pittsburgh with such a veteran team with Crosby, Malkin, and all them, but I think their window is closing, whereas the Rangers' window is just opening. And it's hopefully time to strike, right now while they're weak. And it's going to be interesting because I don't know, the Rangers got some nice veterans, but they're a largely younger team. Hopefully, I don't know. It's like ignorance bliss when it comes to the young guys. Like, do you hope they carry them with their fresh legs?
I don't think they're that young, though. They acquire some very good veterans in the deadline, and without being flashy, but those are the type of players that the Tampa Bay Lightnings were successful the last 2 cups. So they bring grits, they bring a lot of energy, and they bring some stability on those tight games. So that's when you're going to find out pretty soon that if those trades pay dividend. But they are greedier, they're not as flashy, and they have been winning games this year they were supposed to win. And I know Ranger fans are really hard when they lose a hockey game, but they haven't been gone. They haven't had those long stretch of losing that we've seen in the past, and I think it's very encouraging. But once again, they start 0-0-0 across the
Right.
board in the playoff. And Pittsburgh are going Pittsburgh or Washington. They are thinking exactly the same thing. That's why we love playoff hockey so much. Now we're in. Let's get it going. Let's see where they're going. But I'm very excited to be part of it and be in the building with them.
Yeah, man. There's nothing like playoff hockey. There's really nothing. It's just constant. Like it's just a different mindset. And I know, especially around MSG, there's an aura around it. When playoff hockey starts, man, I don't know. You could tell me more than I know. How was it when playoffs started around MSG? Like, did you feel the buzz? Was it different around the city walking around?
As a player, when I played in '94, I didn't feel it because you decide as a player how long before the game you're going to get to the Garden or on the road game. So you have to be there a minimum of 2 hours before the game. And some games you couldn't even sleep in the afternoon. So I would go there 3.5 hours before. So I didn't see the buzz. You park next to the Garden, you go right to the dressing room, and you're in your bubble.
Right.
But my best experience when the Rangers went to the finals a few years ago against the Kings, I felt every moment of it. And all those series they won, games round 1, 2, and 3, they were just you couldn't imagine getting even higher. But the hype just got higher. The fans they parked themselves at the Garden at 8 a.m. in the morning. I have some friends they couldn't wait to see the Rangers coming in, so they were there to encourage them going in from the parking lot to the Garden. So the buzz is there, but it's not only around the Garden; it's everywhere in the city. There's a lot of blue jerseys out there, and the people are you get recognized everywhere, and people are proud to wear a Ranger logo and jersey. But that was a lot of fun for us, the alumni, to be part of that long run. Plus, when the weather is like 90 degrees outside, and they had the Ranger Town around the thing at the time. So we had so much activities for us, the alumni, to attempt and to share our experience with the fans, and that was a great moment for all of us.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, again, we've been waiting since. So the Rangers won the cup. They went to the cup last time. They obviously fell a little short. You were part of that experience. Since then, they put out the letter. They've gone they overhauled the whole thing, which I love. The owners and the front office, they told us, listen, this didn't work. This window is closed now. We are going to reset everything. Now, how different and do you think that this team is better suited for the playoffs than that previous cup team? You know, because I feel like there was a bunch more grinders on that last one, and it was Henrik. And then now we have more skill, it feels like, this time around with Panarin, with Zibanejad, Lafreniere, and everybody. How can you compare the two teams?
It's hard to compare because it's been a few years now that
Right.
Lundqvist was there, and now we have a young goaltender in net. So it's hard to compare. They didn't get to the finals by luck. They were there because they earned it, and they had to win some very tough games and the tough series before that. So they matched pretty good. And when you have a 96-point guy in Panarin and a 52 goals in Kreider and one of the best defensemen, a Norris Trophy winner, and maybe one of the best goaltender this year. I don't know how you call that trophy, the Vizina Trophy or something, but in your lineup. So you need some balance. You need everyone in line. And if someone falls through injuries, we'll see how deep that team is. So it's hard to compare. They did look very good in 2012 or something, and like this year they're fresh. They're not supposed to be there that quick because they turn around pretty quick in the last 4 years, and their plan are working. And but as a Ranger fan and as a Ranger alumni, I'm very excited to be part of that this year playoff.
So awesome. Well, okay. So enough about the Rangers. Enough about the current squad. I want to ask you, in your playing days, your favorite city to play in when you were in your heyday. What was your favorite city, party wise, fun wise, nice wise? What was your best city to go to?
We went through the cities the other day, but I had the privilege to play one of the loudest building in the world in the the old Chicago Stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've been there before, but that's the loudest building. It's a barn, and it's.
Right.
I was fortunate to go there in the Stanley before the Rangers. We end up in the Stanley Cup Finals, experiencing one of the loudest buildings. So I would say my favorite place was the Chicago Stadium as a home team, because when you're the visiting team, it's a little scary. And also the Philadelphia Spectrum,
Yeah.
I think back then as a to go there, I didn't sleep too well the night before and the day of the game, so that was pretty painful moments to play. But that's those places, the old barns, the St. Louis Blues barn was one of the toughest building. I don't think I ever played a good game there. Was in Boston, the Boston Garden. Being a grinder, you needed some skills to enter those small zones. And the Boston Bruins back then, they were so huge. Even though I'm not a small player myself, they were extremely big, and it was a tough place. The Montreal Forum was a special place. My first game ever there, I remember just before I was on the starting lineup, going on the ice for the national anthem, I had a bloody nose, so I had to retrieve back to the dressing room and put some Kleenex tissue in my nose, and I start to throw up. So that's so much pressure to going into those games. And the Quebec Colisée, for me, being a French Canadian, was also a special place. Not always an easy place to play against, but also a special place. First time in Toronto at the Maple Leaf, because watching those Maple Leaf years over the years was special. First game against in Edmonton against my idol Wayne Gretzky and Mark Messier was also special. So I can go down the line.
Right.
The only places I don't miss was probably Hartford Whalers at the mall, the Winnipeg Jets. I don't miss those places. But all those places in Canada were pretty special. And then after that, when I came into the league, there was 21 teams. So I experienced some. I had the privilege and the experience to see some of the new buildings coming in, the Columbus, the Minnesota, and all those places. And then everyone turned out to have those beautiful stadiums, and it was more friendly for the players to play against.
So, right. I mean, you had a solid career, man. You lasted over a decade. That is awesome. That's a battle of attrition. You kept yourself healthy. I mean, kudos to you for being able to grind it out. And like you were a big bodied guy to take the hits like you did, man. It's a credit to you for making it that long, man. And again, we appreciate all these stories. One more story for us, if you can. What was your best night with the cup? Because everybody gets a night with the cup, right?
I broke the Stanley Cup in half, so that's not by being crazy not by being crazy. It's I think the cup came from Finland. Tikkanen must have it, but the cup goes throughout the whole summer. And the thinnest part of the cup is I don't know how big it is, but it was Wembley. And one of the I took it to my good friend Eric Desjardins' dad. He used to own a bar in my hometown, and everyone takes the picture with the Stanley Cup. And that guy, not because he was reckless with it, the thing snapped, and he ended up with two pieces of the Stanley Cup. And he actually took a picture with and he was so embarrassed. And he goes, "Steph, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry." And I started laughing. I said, "It's out of your control. But that's a pretty good picture, because I don't think any fan in the world ever took a picture with that." But we had a problem, because we still had other places to go that night. And Mr. Desjardins knew everyone in town, and I'm going to call him Bob. Yeah. Bob was sitting in front of us with a few beers in front of him, and Bob is a welder. And Mr. Desjardins asked him, said, "Could you fix the Stanley Cup for us?" And the guy stood up. He goes, "I'm going to be back in a few hours." And he fixed it. He came back 2 hours later. He goes, "That thing will never break again." So I don't know not much about welding, but one line would have done it around. Right. And I think he did 3 lines. It was very thick. And that's when the NHL got pissed off at whoever fixed it. But we had an issue, and we took care of it.
Hey, you have to fix it.
The thing is, 10 years later, I found out the real story behind Bob's party with the cup. And he called his friends at 1 a.m., and he woke up a few of his friends, and he goes, Jack or Jill or whoever who picked up the phone, come to my garage. I have the Stanley Cup. Let's drink beers out of the cup. And they all call him the Fool, go back to sleep, Fool and Bob and whatever the names. But a very few went to his garage. And actually, he had a bigger party than me that night. He put some beers in the Stanley Cup. So
that's freaking awesome.
I broke the Stanley Cup, but that was not because of mishandling on my part of
oh my God. Hey, that's a story right there, man. That's a hell of a story. Listen, the cup has seen crazier things, but everybody's got a story, and I love it. It's just the tradition of passing the cup around. I love that tradition. It's so much fun. Hopefully in the next couple of years, we got another one coming for us. We got a good group of guys. Listen, Mr. Matteau, I'm so thankful that you came on. Our Ranger fans are going to be thankful that you came on. Hopefully, I'll be at the Garden. I will hit you up, and hopefully I could see you there, man. But I'm glad to see that you're still around the team. And again, thank you so much for your time and coming on.
But I believe in good luck. So if the Rangers go to the second round, let's do that again.
We have to. Let's have right?
Chat, and please let's keep on going as long as they allowed us to do it. So
I love it, sir. I love it, man. Hey, well, thanks again for coming on. I listen. Second round, we're back. We got to keep this thing going, right? I'm a big superstitious guy too. So let's go.
Perfect.
Hey, hit him straight on the golf course, and we will talk more. All right. See you later, Mr. Matteau. Have a good one.